For some reason, women want to wear these clothes and they know exactly why they're wearing it. They want people to stare, but then when you do stare, they get mad. But they want you to stare. They do. They do it for certain. They'll bullshit and lie to you and say, I'm doing it for me. No, you're not. When's the last time you seen a girl get up in the morning or come home from work and put up all their makeup and do their hair and look amazing and sit home and watch TV? Zero times has that ever happened. They're
Austin Dunham came on the show and he kind of like he co-signed on this idea. So what Austin will do is he'll actually message, guys will pay him because he's a male model. They'll pay him to message their girlfriends to see whether or not they cheat. And I asked him like, what was the correlation between like cheating? And he said, it's when girls were posting thirst traps. And so my theory was it wasn't necessarily, because you can't always tell a girl's body count. You're saying you had girls tell you they've been with 1,000 people. Most girls I know won't even tell most guys how many people they've slept with. What I found is that it's not necessarily body count or whether or not you can tell body count. It is her susceptibility to stimulus. Meaning, the more stimulus she needs as far as validation makes it more likely for her to cheat.
Absolutely. The thirst trap stuff, that's just one thing that bothers me the most when you're dating someone and they're posting constant pictures and it's a close up on their boobs and their how hot they are, and it's like you're filtering your photos and you're making yourself look even better and hotter than you are. For what reason? Why are you doing this? Like, you're doing this because you want people to DM you and say that you're hot. Now, the right person comes along that has a higher SMV than I do, which is very rare, but it's going to happen at some point. Guy who makes $100 million, who's 6'3" and good looking, and he writes you straight up, hey, I want to you, and you're going to be interested, and it's going to happen. They're going to cheat on you. And so the thirst trap photos, a very high correlation between somebody who's going to be faithful and somebody who's not.
Yeah, the necessity, like what I said before, like attractive women are going to get attention. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the ones that need the attention. Like basically the correlation to when she sees Champagne Poppy, you know, Drake's account, how likely is she to respond to that one or Michael B. Jordan or whatever? The guys who are notorious for messaging, Tyga's another one. Like every girl I know in LA has got hit up by Tyga to come to a music video. Like it's one of these things, like some of these guys are notorious for it. And how susceptible is she to that? Another thing I do here in Vegas is I go on stage at these different nightclubs because I've been living here for 13 years. I'll go on stage when a DJ's there and I watch how quickly the girl just like is mesmerized and then just wants to leave with the DJ or leave with the rich guy or whatever. And you can kind of say, hey, that seems like a fun girl to hang out with. Maybe a cool female friend, but not somebody that I would want to put my trust into because it seems like she's more susceptible to stimulus.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the thirst trap photos, it's for a reason. They want somebody to message them. They want that attention. You could be a 10 out of 10, but if you're showing normal photos, not your ass into the air and not showing it constantly every day, then it's good. And if you're an 8 or a 7 and you're showing the thirst trap, it means you need that. It's probably because something happened as a child. It's all about the validation that you need. And so I would say a big red flag is looking for girls that are posting thirst traps, especially the more often they do it, the worse it's going to be.
Yeah. One of the trends that I love is that you calling girls out for when they make those videos of calling men creepy for looking at them in the gym. I thought that was interesting. Like a girl is wearing like spandex or Lululemon and a guy's looking and immediately she makes him out to be a creep. And it's almost like a superpower they get where it's like anyone who looks at me, I can judge them.
For some reason, women want to wear these clothes and they know exactly why they're wearing it. They want people to stare, but then when you do stare, they get mad. But they want you to stare. They do. They do it for certain. They'll bullshit and lie to you and say, I'm doing it for me. No, you're not. When's the last time you seen a girl get up in the morning or come home from work and put up all their makeup and do their hair and look amazing and sit home and watch TV? Zero times has that ever happened. They're looking hot as getting their sexy outfits on, going to dinner, every time they leave the house, go to the gym and so on, because they want other people to notice them. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be getting ready this way.
Yeah, I think Tristan had Tristan had a great point here where he's talking about double attention. They're getting attention from the guys because of the way they dress, and then they're getting more attention because they're on TikTok letting you know that they're getting attention from men. This is another thing, another trend that I've noticed is girls talking about thirsty men on TikTok, and I'm like, no, it's not that men are thirsty. And maybe some of the men are thirsty, but most men probably aren't into you. The problem is you need us to know that men are thirsty for you because that's a double dose of attention that you get.
It's always the woman who is like not as attractive bragging on TikTok. You've seen these videos of how many men want her.
Yeah.
It's always that.
And there's the appeal to sympathy, which is a strong thing in 2024. The more sympathy you can get from someone for anything. I'm having a bad day. This person's making fun of me. This person's bullying me. no matter what, if somebody can get people to feel sorry for them, they're going to get more attention, more likes,
Mhm.
more validation. And so this is what people are going for. Sympathy, the sympathy vote.
One of the things I talk about with my clients is that while cold approach, I used to work with like mystery back in the day. Back then, because girls weren't on their phone all the time, the iPhone had just come out the year prior. There was a very different dating environment. They weren't looking for quite as much stimulus. I noticed a lot more attractive women at strip clubs, nightclubs, etc. And then as time passed and Instagram, women started getting validation through Instagram, and then later on through fans, I noticed that like I would have to throw these huge events, or I would have to contact women on social media in order to see those same type of like very attractive women. And I was curious, have you seen in your life, you're about 2 years older than me, have you seen in your life the changes that's happened since like say 2000 before that to now, and how it is that you go and cold approach a woman, and what the effects of social media have been?
Well, I remember way back in my younger days, in my 20s, I said, I'm going to go and ask 10 girls out and see if I can get their numbers. And I remember I had 5. So 50% of the girls that I would talk to, just cold approach, say, hi, I want your number. This is before there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. This is how old I am. And 50% get my number. Now, in today's day and age, I wouldn't dare ask somebody for a number. I would never go and ask for a number. So when I go and approach somebody, I'm always getting their Instagram. So you have
Mhm.
to find some reason to talk to them, and then you have to get their Instagram. And from there, you can do whatever you want. But it's certainly a lot more difficult now. It used to be normal. For example, I got canceled on TikTok because I made a video defending a guy's right to speak to a girl at a gas station. TikTok, I had 58,000 negative comments in the comment section of the video. A guy was basically hitting on a girl, and she made a video making fun of him. And the reason she made fun of him, because he wasn't attractive. It was Chris Bumstead or The Rock or a guy with a friggin' Mercedes or a Lamborghini. She's talking to this guy,
Mhm.
but because he was more unattractive, she's probably a 9, he was probably a 2. And so she's like, her self-esteem was hurt that this guy would dare ask for her number. So she shit on him. I defended him. I got canceled from TikTok. They reported every one of my videos as sexual harassment, bullying, and everything. That's how they do when they try to cancel you. And so notice I don't have a TikTok. And so this is why. Back when I was younger, you could go and talk to someone. You could strike up a conversation. If I was at the grocery store, at the mall, anywhere, hi, how you doing? And you could talk, and it was in the real world, and it was normal. Today, it's like people think that if you talk to someone, you're harassing them. So it's a complete changeover.
Yeah, and the changeover seems to be generational. I was reading one study, and I believe it was millennials, but I might not have been correct about this. But they were saying something to the effect that 17% of them saying going up and talking to a stranger constitutes sexual harassment. And it was like, if 17% of them believe something that outrageous, I've always said, like, that weird couple in the bar that's like approaching women to like try to have a threesome. I'm like, that's not weird. You can ask once. You're always allowed to ask once. You get to ask once. After that, if a girl's like consistently, hey, no, 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 you can still be friendly. But once you keep doing that, then it's a problem. But you do get one freebie. And I think that it doesn't constitute sexual harassment if you do that.
Exactly. You should be allowed to say anything once. I 100% agree with this. There's nothing's wrong with saying something. If somebody says, no, I'm not interested, like if I start hitting on you and you say, hey, thanks, but no thanks, I'm not interested, and you keep going, then they can do whatever you want. Hey,
Yeah.
get out, asshole motherfucker, say whatever you want. But if you're just saying hi, the polite response is hello. If they then say, hey, I'm interested, or they start chatting you up and you say, hey, I'm just not interested. But the thing is, girls will say they're scared that if they keep talking to them, that they're going to somehow assault them or something. It's not the truth. What they're scared of is no one wants confrontation. People don't like to upset someone or put somebody down, and so they don't do that. And so what they'll do is they'll talk nice and chat, chat, chat for 5 minutes, and then as soon as they're out of their face, they go on TikTok and make fun of them. That's what people do now. They want to make fun of them. They want to bully people online, make fun of them and their friends. Why don't you just say, thanks, but no thanks, and move on? That's as simple as it takes. Girls can't even reject you anymore. You ask them on a date, sure, I'll go on a date, and then you ask, and then they stood you up and they don't show up. This is what people are doing now. Just say no and move on and make it simple.